Okay. Yes. So good evening, everyone. And tonight we'll be continuing our sessions for the online lectures and tutorials for Excel, basic Excel functions, using the electronic class record as our sample in dissecting different functions and formulas in Excel. So this is our third session, and right now, as you can see in my desktop, this is the same file that we used last time during our last session of our online stream on MS Excel tutorials. And as you can see on the first quarter grading sheet, it's got the same data and even the tested cells we used last time is still here. What I added actually here is the Vlookup sheet, just to keep it ready for tonight's session. So let's check it out. Okay, in this sheet, so here in this worksheet, I already prepared two tables for our presentation in the discussion of VLOOKUPs. Our goal tonight would be to use this function or formula effectively and efficiently. In our first table, you can see I have a sample data consisting of 4 learners with their grades from the first to the fourth quarter. The final grades are blank along with their corresponding academic award column. Below it is the table 2, which is basically a summary table where the names of our learners are listed and their final grades and academic awards as blanks to see how we will be able to use the VLOOKUP function. Just above that, you can see a set of guide questions I made to make our understanding of this function a lot easier. So let's begin. First things first, let's take a good look at our table 1. We have the names here and their grades, but the final grades are blank. So we need to compute their grades. So how do we do that? There are basically 2 ways to do that. The most common way is to use the sum function, which simply means adding all the cells of these rows and then dividing the result into 4. So if we're going to do that, it's going to be clicking on the first cell, equals sum, parenthesis, and then click on the first cell, press shift on your keyboard, and click on the last cell, and then just press enter. So you have the total of all of these grades from first quarter to fourth quarter. Next is to add a division bar. So let's add a division bar and divided by 4. So that's what we added here. So if you can see, we added a division bar and divided by 4 and then press enter. So that will be the grades of our students by the end of the school year. Now, you might have noticed that the results are automatically generated up to the last learner when we only created a formula on the first cell. The reason for that is I formatted this range into a table. We presented last time the importance of using tables or converting your ranges into tables. And one of its very useful attributes is that it automatically generates all the formula across your column even when you only encoded it once on a single cell. If you weren't able to watch our last stream, let me show you how to convert a range into a table. So we'll try this on table 2 here. First, you need to highlight all of the cells in the range including their headers. So highlight all of that and then go to insert here on the ribbon tab, go to insert and click on table. Once a pop-up shows, be sure that the my table headers is checked and then press or click OK. That will automatically convert your range into a table the same way that it is in table 1 above. If you don't want the highlights or the colors that are being generated in our range, you can just go on the table here in the table ribbon bar, click here and then choose light or the blank. And that will automatically convert your table into the same type of blank sheet in table 1. Now back to our table here. Another way of computing your final grade is to use the average function in Excel. So let's try to delete all of this. So you just go to the first cell, type equals, and then average, and then open parenthesis. Click on the first cell, shift on your keyboard, then go to the last cell, which is the fourth quarter, and press enter. So let's show that again. Let's double click. Okay. So it's equals average, and then the first cell to the last cell, and just pressing enter. So that's 94.25. That's the result of our final grade for this learner. And since DepEd directs us to use whole numbers, we can do that by adding the round function in our formula, or just by simply using these 2 decimal buttons here, which is found in the home button. In the home tab, there is these 2 decimal functions here. You just click that if you want to increase the decimals, or click the one on the right to go into the whole numbers. So if you want to do that, just highlight everything and then use this function. Okay, so we're gonna, highlight everything, then click here to convert your final grade into a whole number. So the next thing is, what we're going to do is to be able to get the interpretation or the rewards or awards mark of our learner if he was able to achieve the standards which was stipulated in the DepEd order, that if a student is able to reach a grade of 90 and above, that automatically makes that student an honor student. So going here, I actually prepared something. Let's move right here. Here we have a screenshot of the Academic Excellence Award table from DepEd Order number 36, series of 2016, which is the policy guidelines on awards and recognition. It shows here that there are 3 types of academic awards. Number 1, with the highest honors if the learner has an average final grade, general average of 98 to 100. Number 2, with high honors if the learner has an FGA of 95 to 97. And number 3, with honors if the learner has an FGA of 90 to 94. What we need to do now is to convert this guideline into an Excel range, or interpret this into a language where Excel can understand it. Because if you're gonna just keep it like this, Excel will not understand that. So I actually prepared something. I already converted this one into a 2-column range here. So I just covered this this range with a screenshot I got from the DepEd order. Anyway, so this range is composed of the grade ceiling and marking. What this means is that the first column is the limits of the ranges stipulated in the DepEd order, while the marking is the specific award for that particular grade ranges. You may notice that I started the grade ceiling in 60. Let me show that. Yeah. So I started in a grade ceiling of 60. I purposely placed that there since the DepEd order only recognizes the honor awardees, whereas our data is composed of grades between 60 to 100. In other words, the fourth condition, which is not stated here in the categories, is that if the grade is equal to 89 and below, therefore the learner is not considered as an honor student. And since DepEd Order number 8, series of 2015 stated that the lowest possible grade in the transmutation of the final grades is 60, then that is why we started with 60 here in our range, and followed by the next grade, 90, which is the lowest possible grade of a learner to be with honors, followed by 95, which is the lowest possible grade of a learner to be with high honors, followed by 98 as the lowest possible grade of a learner to be with highest honors. Thus, if we are going to interpret this whole range, it would be as if the learner is 60 and above, therefore, he is not an honor student. That's why it's none. But if the learner's grade reaches a grade of 90, then he is with high honors, with honors. But if it reaches 95, he is with high honors, and if it reaches 98, then with highest honors. Now, how do we use this set of ranges in our Vlookup? Well, we have to start understanding how to use the Vlookup function. So I have these guide questions here. First, what are we looking for? Which means in this situation, the final grade. This is what we are looking for. And then which implies that you should start somewhere on what particular criteria, or should you base your referencing of that particular category. So let me try to simplify that. If you're going here, when you say what are we looking for, it implies that I am looking for the grade 94 in this set of ranges. So the next question is, where are we looking at? We are looking at here in our set of ranges. What column number should we look at? In this set of range, which column number should the result be taken from? So there are only two columns, the grade ceiling, that's the first, and then the marking, which is the second. So since the marking is in the second column, we use the column number 2. And last but not the least, should Excel be looking for the exact match of this grade, or should it just look for the approximate grade or approximate match that would fit the specific set of range? In this case, we will only be looking for the approximate match. So why is that? That is because our range here is not distributed equally. In other words, the numbers that are found here in the first column is not spread out. If the grades here were typed individually from 60 to 100, which means 60, 61, 62, 63 until 100, then we would be using the exact match. But since it's 60 to 89, 90 to 94, 95 to 97, and 98 to 100, then we can only use the approximate match. So let's try it here in our cell. Here, type equals Vlookup. So we'll just click this one. What are we looking for? So that's the first question. What are we looking for? We're looking for this grade. So just click on that cell. Then comma. Where are we looking at? What set of range are we going to compare this grade? We're going to be comparing it here. So from this to this. In other words, I'm just going to highlight everything using the shift function in our keyboard. Then add another comma. What column number should we look at? Since this is the first and this is the second. And the second is actually where the interpretation should be. So we're going to type 2. And then comma. Followed with, should we look for the exact match or the approximate? Since we're only looking for the approximate match, we're going to be choosing true. Just click on true. And then close parentheses. And let's press enter. Now, all of the results are generated here in our last column. But as you can see, there is an error result on the last row. The reason for that is because our range lookup, also known as where are we looking at, the data itself is inconsistent. What do we mean by that? This means that Excel treated the range to be cascading based on the number of rows. So to illustrate it, let's go to Formulas in the Formulas tab and then click on Show Formulas. That will show you all of the formulas used in your Excel worksheet. Now, in this column, by clicking on each cell, look at the data that is color red. The data that is color red. The data that is color red is actually referring to our range. This one. And you can actually see the ranges here are actually moving. Each time you go one cell down, the ranges are moving. It is very important to remember that when we are using the Vlookup function, the range as to where we are looking at must stay consistent. So how do we do that? There are two ways to do that. The first one is to lock the range from our first formula on cell G2, this one. We're gonna lock it here, or turning the range into an absolute cell. So I'm just gonna turn this one off. Okay. Example. We're gonna convert this, our formula, into an absolute cell or an absolute reference. Example here, I have here in the M column. In the M column, if we try to reference this M17 to J17, we're just going to be using equals J17. J17. That will give you the result from the data that is found here on J17. But if you are going to drag that down, drag the formula down, you will see that from J17 here, J17, and when you go down, it's actually J18. Going down, that's J19. Going down, J20. In other words, Excel cascades the references since your first formula is not locked. So in order to lock that cell, we must use a formula or adjust the formula to refer into an absolute reference. So how do we do that? You can actually do that by adding a $sign from the column and the row data. So $sign before the letter J and $sign before the letter before the number 17. In other words, we have $sign J7 equals $J $17. And if you press enter, and then if you're gonna drag that down, you will see that it will always look up on J17 even if you're going down, because the formula that we use has already been locked to or absolute to our function. So we need to do the same thing from this principle to our Vlookup here in our set of range. So let's just zoom in and let's double click. We need to put $signs in J and in 1, in K and in 5. So let's put a $sign in J, a $sign in 1, a $sign in K, and a $sign in 5. So that's how it should be looking in our range. So when you press enter, automatically the result will adjust your academic awards column into absolute references. So if you go back to show formulas, I'm going to zoom out. Okay. Zoom out a bit. Let's see that. As you can see, even if I go down, the referencing of the cells will always be on this table. The second way of trying to create an absolute result in our Vlookup function is to use the same technique that we used last time. So I'm going to delete this one. So the second way of doing this is just like what we did in our previous sessions, wherein we created a name for our range. So let's highlight here. Let's highlight all of these. And then let's click this name range here, this one, the insert, below the insert function. Click that and create a name for that particular range. So I'm just gonna call this range awards. Okay, and then press enter. Oh no, I need there should be no space. I actually place some space. Range awards, yeah. Range no space awards. Then enter. So once you've done that, we can now just go back here in our academic award column. Use the same function of our Vlookup. So we type in equals Vlookup, the grade. Where are we looking at? We're looking at this final grade, comma. Where are we looking at? So it should be on this, which is already has a new name, which is awards, range awards. This one. So click on that one, comma. What column number should we look at? It's still on column number 2. And of course, true. And press enter. Automatically, you don't need to lock anything because the range awards range is actually absolute. Now, so that is how you use Vlookup in the basic fundamental principle of its function. So we're gonna do that same thing again, but this time around we're gonna be using it here on our table 2. Let me increase the that one. So here on table 2, we need to get or fetch the final grades of these learners based on table 1 as well as their academic awards based still on table 1. But before we're gonna do that, let's highlight this. Since I'm gonna be referencing this always, I'm just gonna name this table 1. Okay? Oh, no. I'm not table 1. Oh, what happened? I'm just gonna call this table 1. Table _1. Okay. I already have a different table in the other worksheets. So I'm just gonna call this table _1. Okay? So that's the set of range that I will be referencing or looking at for our table 2. Now, I need to get the final grade of Aban, De La Cruz, Morales, and Zamora. So how do we do that? We're just gonna be using the Vlookup. So it's equals Vlookup. Click on that one. We're looking for, who are we looking for? We're looking for this learner. And then comma. From where are we looking at? So we're going to be looking at here, which already has a name. So we're going to be calling it table _1, which will highlight everything, comma. What is the column number that we should be looking at? So we're going to be looking for this column number. So that's A, B, C, D, E, F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 6. So I'm going to be looking at the 6th column, comma. Are we looking for the approximate or the exact match? So since this learner is unique and there are no other learners that has the same name, we're going to be looking for the exact match. So we're going to be choosing false and close it, press enter, and automatically it will give you the results from this final grade. It has the decimal points because we merely did not round our grades here. So doing the same thing a while ago, highlight everything, go to the home tab, use the right decimal places to keep it into a whole number. Now, what's next? We need to fetch these results here. So using that same principle, equals Vlookup. We're going to be looking for this learner, comma, from what table are we looking at? We're going to be looking at table underscore 1. Let's click on that, comma, what column? So this is column 6, as we discovered a while ago. So this is going to be column 7. So we're going to put on 7. And comma, are we going to looking for the exact match or approximate match? Of course, exact match. Click on false, close it, press enter, and automatically you will have the rewards or the academic awards of these learners based on this table. Now, so that's basically it. That's how we use VLOOKUP as it is used in our DepEd electronic class record. So if you are new with Excel, don't be overwhelmed with all of these. It's actually pretty easy. What you need to remember is that every function has its own guide or principle in order to use it. For the VLOOKUP, we have already dissected its properties in order to fully understand how to use it. So how do we apply all of this together? Well, as you can see, the summary of quarterly grades sheet, this can be edited if you unlock it. So if you're gonna unlock this one, okay, you can create an additional column here which would automatically tell you if the learner is a student that is with honors or honors, and what category of honors is he or she belonging to using our table a while ago. This would be a lot easier for you to determine the honors per quarter and also by the end of the school year if you're going to use this in the final grading sheet. So in the context, I'm just talking about the context, not here because this is just a subject of mathematics, but in the summary of final graded average, you can just unlock it and then add another column here on the last part, right side, to use the VLOOKUP function using the referencing table for the academic awards. Anyway, so I hope you learned something from this session tonight. And if you have any other questions or clarifications, you can do so after I get back online just like last time. I'll cut this session here and try to upload it to YouTube for easy referencing of our sessions. So I'll be back in around 5 to 10 minutes to address all of your concerns, your questions, and even if you want to see the formula that are being used here in our functions here in Excel, I will show it to you if you want to see it again. But I need to be back in 5 or 10 minutes, okay? So see you again. Thank you.